let's start with the Energy Efficiency Directive, EED. How do you think that's going to affect the data center landscape in Europe?
So the very short answer is level playing field. If you think about what happened in the data center industry, they figured out that we could become climate neutral by 2030 as part of the EED instead of 2050. Were we ready? I think we were. The industry as such. I think most of us are already operating on clean energy. We're now thinking about collectively also about carbon-free energy, such as nuclear, such as small nuclear devices. The EED basically had an open consultation as well. That's what I liked about the EED. So first of all, they have this idea, climate neutral, the way to net zero. I always say the way to net zero because net zero cannot exist. It's an asymptotic curve which can become endlessly close to the eye, but it can never hit it because when I have to basically log one data point, it needs some carbon. So it's impossible, but it's the road to net zero, and that's important. And if everyone realizes this, then we should not give up. Because some people may say, I may never go to net zero, so why would I do the effort? I think that's important. The EED, I think if you look at the last years, the open consultations at the European Data Center Association, I was leading the chair for the policy committee, discussing directly, advising. If you see how our position of the data center industry has changed from who are you to trusted advisor, basically. You can see a lot of small influences in the EED, basically there, you know. It's achievable. You know, they start with the easy ones. Clean energy, go to 100%, 75 by 2027. I think those things are really important. The EED as such, I think it will spread across the world, not as the EED, but what we see, for instance, we saw in Virginia, US, they now talk about PUE 1.2 for a tax credit, tax break. We see in Asia, we see they're also picking up on PUE, they're picking up on energy efficiency, picking up on energy reuse. So I think as such, the leadership was shown by the European Commission was really good, EED really good, but it went so fast that there are errors in it and they're not completely ready. And they basically told us there will be errors in it and it will not be ready. But you know what? Let's continue going, let's fix them along the road. So I think that's really where we are today. I think that's where we're going with the EED. I'm looking forward to it. Is it all fun? No, it's not all fun. All the reporting requirements, some of the funny reporting requirements like can you do the data reporting from our customers? Not that easy, you know, so there are things we need to further discuss, yes, yeah. But EED, why not?
Excellent, so it's a work in progress, but we're having a dialogue with the people writing regulations.
Still, absolutely, still talking to them.
Energy use continues to be a problem. I guess that's why we have things like the EED. What do we do about things like AI, which are going to up the ante when it turns, when it comes to data center energy use?
Yeah. So, what you need to realize in the EED, they're talking about an indicator called CERT. That's a kind of an efficiency indicator which you need to comply to. If you now look at what's happening with AI, we're talking about accelerator indicators, which have never been seen before. They do not behave like CERT, they do not behave like spec power, they do not behave like spec rate int. They're new, they are different. So also in that case for the EU, they need to realize that AI, if you see the size of the data centers we're designing for it, we're looking now at a gigawatt. We're looking at hundreds and hundreds of megawatts. So that will supersede large parts of what they're now asking on the CERT. So that is the combination. AI will change basically everything around us, not only in a physical way for the data centers, but also, let's say, as humans, you know, because we're using it already. It's using us. Don't forget that in most of these algorithms, there is this one rule: make profit. Yeah, so it will keep us addicted, it will keep us connected, but we will learn a lot from it, and we will use a lot from it, and we will improve and level ourselves up as we go with AI. So there's a big future for AI, but there is also on the other side the dilemma for where will we get all the energy for this, because it's not the data center using the energy, it's actually the end user having all the demand, using all of these apps, creating that big load on the data center, because it's not that the phone is dealing with this, it's basically that connection back to the data center and that load. So yeah, AI will be a big changer.
And then as far as, you know, with your other hat on, leading the design and technology group within DRT, how is AI going to inform the way that you start to think about the way that you implement your data centers, and how is your relationship with Schneider Electric going to facilitate that and help? I'm globally involved in new designs, R&D, government engagement and sustainability. I'm not per se leading it anymore. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm always involved. And so if you look at the knowledge we had in 2011, was not always AI, was not always liquid cooling, it was not always PUE, but everything at that time made me decide to actually build everything chilled water, PUE 1.2. Legislation, conversations with the authorities were leading towards low PUEs. Energy efficiency was there, everything was there. The cost of energy was there. It's going up, not coming down. So that made me decide to put these designs this way. Luckily, that also matches with AI, which needs, in most cases, liquid cooling. And so, yeah, all of that together was also something that we had in mind. We came up with, but by working together with Schneider Electric, together in the R&D labs, basically as equals, never anymore as in the past, vendor and customer. The old days we would tell the vendor, this is what we want, you would not listen, and if you would come with a product, we would say we don't want it. But basically as equals in R&D lab, banging our heads, disagreeing, working on the future. These products were actually matching everything we needed, and actually some of the energy efficiency features, which were in those days a setting change, is now a standard, and if you want to change it, it's a change of operation to a lower, less efficient setting. So imagine what all happened all together, you know, the trust we had in the vendor, the partnership we had with the vendor, and the passion we joined together as well. So that was all together with what we did on this.